it was a story that our dads and moms told us as we were growing up, and it was always scary and haunting and sad. And it made them sad to tell us, and it never had an ending. They would tell us that these people had died and the children were orphaned, and then the story would just end.
We didn't grow up knowing the story. I knew there was something very insidious that had occurred, but my mother never spoke about it. It just wasn't talked about.
Of all the documents that I've accumulated, Nola Romi's death certificate was the most shocking. His death certificate for May 17, 1929 says lynched, slightly underlined, capital letter. It takes your breath away to see a document like that. Husna's death certificate says several gunshot wounds on May 17, 1929. So when you put those two documents together, what you believe is that there's more to tell in this story.
In 1967, I stopped to see Aunt Deanie in Birmingham, who was living alone. And late that evening, after having a real nice day in conversation and me asking her a lot of questions and her volunteering information she'd never told me before, she hands me this manuscript. It's about that thick, and it's all handwritten tablets, loose leaf pieces of paper and so on. I said, what's this? And she said, that's 40 years of nightmares. And I said, what do you mean? And so she said, well, that's what happened to your grandparents. They were murdered.
كان نقولا وحسنا رومي من بين عشرات الآلاف من المهاجرين الذين سافروا من لبنان إلى الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية بين الأعوام 1880 و 1930. ترك كل منهما بيته في وادي البقاع ما بين عامي 1904 و 1906، وركبا البحر متوجهين نحو جزيرة إليس في مدينة نيويورك في مسعى منهما لإيجاد فرص العمل والرخاء في أمريكا. بعد مكوث قصير في مدينة بروكلين، انتقل الاثنان إلى جنوب الولايات المتحدة، منضمين بذلك إلى أفراد آخرين من العائلة في مدينة فلوريدا في ولاية جورجيا. مثل أي من المتزوجين حديثاً، فقد عمل الاثنان في محل لوجبات الغداء، وأصبحا جزءاً من الجالية اللبنانية في فلوريدا. كانت الحياة في أمريكا منقسمة على أساس خطوط عنصرية صارمة، وكانت البلاد تمر بموجة عارمة من المشاعر المعادية للمهاجرين.
You are always going to come in as the other if you are an immigrant. But in a place like South Georgia that is so bifurcated and so bipolar solely on the basis of black and white, the goal of immigrants is going to be, for the most part, to make themselves as white as possible.
When you look at the value that is added to one's personhood, when you can claim access to whiteness, it is kind of the basis of your access to economic improvement, to education, to social inclusion. You know, whether we're talking 1929 or 2019, it is a core idea.
فقد أقر الكونغرس الأمريكي قانون الهجرة عام 1921 وقانون أصول الجنسية عام 1924، وحدد هذين القانونين عدد المهاجرين من كل دولة مع إعطاء الأفضلية للمهاجرين من دول شمال وغرب أوروبا. وتم اعتبار اللبنانيين مثل سكان البحر المتوسط الآخرين مهاجرون غير مرغوب فيهم، وحدد القانون عددهم ب100 مهاجراً في السنة. ووصف السناتوران الأمريكيان سيمنز وريد المهاجرين اللبنانيين بأنهم نسل اللعنة الفينيقية وأنهم نفايات البحر المتوسط.
In here somewhere will be Nola Romi. Did you find him? Yes, there he is. Nola G. and Fanny Romi. Here's his wife, Fanny. They have a restaurant. And that is right. That's the address. 101 West Florida Avenue. And then this is their home at 319 Morgan Avenue. He was a successful merchant, as were a lot of the Lebanese people. They had grocery stores and restaurants, and we know there was a pool hall and a filling station.
اصطدمت جهود نقولا وحسنة ومحاولتهما بدء حياة جديدة في مدينة فالدوستا بموجة متصاعدة من المشاعر المعادية للمهاجرين، وكذلك قوانين الجنسية الصارمة التي تم إقرارها حديثاً وحالات العنف. وبالإضافة إلى النخب السياسية والمفكرين، أخذ التعبير عن العنصرية التي تستر تحت غطاء تحسين النسل منحاً عنيفاً من قبل جماعة الكو كلوكس كلان أو ما يعرف بالكي كي كي.
The 1920s in particular are going to be the rehabilitation of the Ku Klux Klan, an entirely white fundamentalist Protestant organization which is going to have millions of members all over the country. It's going to get a new pseudo-respectability in the 1920s.
At certain points, you had governors, you had lieutenant governors, you had attorneys generals, you have judges who were open members of the KKK. You know, for us today, I think we have a very different understanding of the Klan, but understand at that point in time, they were as American as apple pie.
It is going to inculcate this notion that to be a real American, you need to be a white Protestant.
There's also this fear of immigration, of Catholics who are coming over, of increasing numbers of Jews who are here. This anxiety around the future of America. And if we keep allowing these people who are not white Anglo-Saxon Protestants to come to our shores, that represents a threat to the core of this country.
The problem for a lot of immigrants is coming in that they just don't know those kinds of things. They expect to have people treat them as equal. I'm a business owner, you're a business owner, we should be able to talk. When they find out that's not necessarily true, it becomes a very steep and quick learning curve.
في عام 1907 منعت ولاية جورجيا بيع الكحول والخمور. إلا أن نقولا وبعض المهاجرين اللبنانيين كونهم أصحاب متاجر بقالة قد كسبوا من بيع الخمر غير القانوني في السوق. في عام 1919 تم إلقاء القبض على نقولا بتهمة بيع الخمور والحكم عليه بالسجن سنة واحدة. لأنهم مهاجرون وكاثوليك فقد تعرضت عائلة رومي للعنصرية والشكوك. وأشد هذه المظاهر كان يوم 28 حزيران عام 1922 عندما قام 5 أعضاء في جماعة الكي كي كي بأخذ نقولا من متجره ووضعه في صندوق سيارة واقتياده إلى منطقة غابات قرب أرض المعارض، وانهالوا عليه بالضرب المبرح وهددوه بأن يتوقف عن بيع الكحول وتعاطيه وألا يخاطب أي امرأة بيضاء مطلقا. وتعرض مهاجرون لبنانيون آخرون إلى مواجهات شفهية وجسدية مماثلة من العنف العنصري المتصاعد. وفي محاولة منها للهرب من اضطهاد الكي كي كي انتقلت عائلة رومي إلى مدينة لايك سيتي في ولاية فلوريدا معتقدين أن الأمور ستؤول إلى الأفضل.
Florida had the highest rate of lynching, if we look at it proportionally. And that's something that people really don't associate with the state. And different accounts have pinpointed Lake City as the lynching capital in Florida. While, yes, we need to understand that the majority of lynching victims were Black men, anyone who was an outsider in this society was eligible for lynching. There were 2 Italians who were lynched in Tampa in 1910. And there was a white man who was a socialist organizer. His politics made him an outsider. We can come back to Georgia and talk about Leo Frank. His faith as a Jewish man made him an outsider. We can talk about the lynching of Mexicans out in the West. They were outsiders and threats to, the expansion of white territorial aspirations. So at any point when we're looking at this, we would misunderstand lynching violence if we only understand it as something that African Americans were eligible for. Anyone who was outside of the realm of whiteness or on the fringes of whiteness was eligible for this type of treatment, as we see in the case of the Romis.
وفي محاولة منه للتأقلم مع المجتمع انضم نقولا إلى الكنيسة المعمدانية وكذلك جمعية Woodmen of the World، وهي منظمة خيرية. وبرغم محاولات العائلة لتكون جزءاً من المجتمع السائد إلا أن الأمور اتجهت نحو الأسوأ. سطرت ابنتهم إيميلين في مذكراتها نذر العاصفة هذه، وقد كتبت: ذكر أمي وأبي ذات مساء شيئا عن مقتل رجل أسود وضرب رجل أبيض آخر ضربا شديدا. كل هذا أشعر أمي وأبي بالقلق والتوتر، وفي المدرسة والمدينة كان الناس ينظرون إلينا والكره في أعينهم، وبعض الأولاد ينظرون إلينا ويشتموننا بكلمات عنصرية مثل ديغو وواب وغيرها من الأسماء القبيحة. هكذا تحولت مخاوف عائلة رومي إلى حقيقة ليلة 16 أيار 1929 عندما تم قتل نقولا والتشنيع به وإطلاق النار على حسنة من قبل رئيس الشرطة المحلي ومساعد رئيس الشرطة الولاية، مما أدى إلى موتها. أما رجال الشرطة وفي رغبة منهم لإبراء ساحتهم فقد ادعوا بأن المشاحنات التي أدت إلى هاتين الجريمتين تمحورت حول سلال الفواكه والخضر المعروضة على رصيف الشارع، ولاموا المهاجرين اللذين لم يمتثلوا إلى القانون.
So they had a grocery store there in Lake City, and the sheriff was always up their tail, pushing them to do this and do that, and tell them how to run their business, and don't put your so-and-so on the sidewalks, don't put your this on the sidewalk and all that. Well, other store owners did, but they didn't bother them.
It didn't happen to anybody else on the street that there was a problem with Chief Baker about the produce. It only happened with the Romies. Why they drove by the store, why this whole encounter started with the produce, it's a little bit hard to believe it was totally random. It's a really small town. Earlier in the week when their deaths occurred, the three little girls and Iser were in a car and they were driving around a lake in downtown Lake City, and they were hit by another car. And later the story evolves that this car was stolen, that there were two men in the car, that there was a weapon, that there was a large amount of money, and all of that story sort of disappears. But what matters to the Romy story is that Chief of Police Baker promised that the damage to the car would be repaid. The repairs to the car were made. Hasna called Chief Baker and said, "You promised to make this damage right and to pay for the repairs." He said he had never made that promise, and she called him a liar. And if you're a police chief in small town 1929 Lake City, Florida, you're not going to be called a liar. That was just behavior they couldn't tolerate.
There are two different kinds of immigrant groups who were coming in the Gilded Age in the early 20th century. Those coming to big cities, northern urban industrial hubs, they're coming to just get some kind of work. They're working in horrible factory jobs. They're living in tenements. The people who are coming to these smaller southern towns are coming with a sense of expectation that they're going to be having more than just a job. They're coming here for opportunity, which means that they're used to dealing with people in a different way. They're used to being treated with a certain kind of respect that the white South isn't always going to give you. And naturally, in that situation, if you are used to being treated a certain way and now a policeman is treating you as if he deserves to be there and you do not, pushing back against that is dangerous, but understandable.
قبل موتها بيومين كانت حسنة رومي تقوم بترتيب الغلال بهدف عرضها على الرصيف أمام متجرها عندما مر كل من رئيس الشرطة جون بيكر وشرطي آخر وأمرها بإزالة هذه البضاعة، مدعين بأن عرضها على الأرصفة يعد أمرا مخالفا لقانون البلدة. سألتهم حسنة لماذا لم يلزموا أصحاب المحلات الأخرى بنفس التعليمات، وقام رجال الشرطة عندها باغتيال حسنة التي كانت في الشهر الرابع من حملها إلى الشارع، وكانوا سيلقون القبض عليها لولا تدخل طبيب محلي قائلا لهم: هذه ليست طريقة للتعامل مع سيدة. عندما عاد نقولا من رحلة تسوقه إلى مدينة تامبا غضب بعدما سمع بما جرى مع زوجته وكيف عملت، واتصل برئيس الشرطة بيكر وتحداه أن يأتي إلى المتجر ويسوي الأمر رجلا لرجل. على إثره توجه بيكر مع 3 رجال شرطة آخرين هم ليو كوكس وبوب دينارد وآرثر هول إلى المتجر، وهم يطلقون النار للترهيب، ومن ثم ضربوا نقولا وطرحوه أرضا. خرجت حسنة من خلف المتجر وهي تحمل سلاحها، ومعتقدة أن زوجها قد مات قامت بإطلاق النار على رئيس الشرطة بيكر فأصاب ذراعه. على إثره سارع كل من بيكر ونائب رئيس شرطة الولاية ليو كوكس بإطلاق النار عليها فسقطت أرضا. وصل كل من قيصر وإيميلين رومي إلى المحل وشاهدا أمهما ملقاة على الأرض في بركة من الدم، ورجال الشرطة يقتادون أباهما وهو غائبا عن الوعي وينزف إلى سجن المدينة. قام رجال الشرطة بضرب قيصر واقتياده هو الآخر إلى سجن الولاية، واستمر نائب رئيس شرطة الولاية ليو كوكس بضرب قيصر في السيارة، وقال له: أيها الزنجي الملعون، أنت تذهب مع أولادي إلى المدرسة، لقد أردنا قتلك من وقت طويل.
3 men came to him in his jail cell and told him they were going to kill his father that night. I believe there was premeditation in separating the father and the son. I think there were plans early on that night and possibly before that night to take care of Romy. He was a bit of a troublemaker. He had had previous run-ins with the law in Valdosta and possibly in Lake City. He didn't stand down to anybody, and neither did Husna. There were probably multiple reasons that a lynching might have been on their minds that night.
في وقت متأخر من تلك الليلة 17 أيار، شوهد رجال من جماعة الKKK يرتدون أرديات بيضاء في وسط المدينة. قامت هذه العصابة باقتحام سجن المدينة وأخذ نقولا من زنزانته وقتله. اكتشف أحد المزارعين جثة نقولا في صباح اليوم التالي على طريق وايت فورت، وهي مصابة ومشوهة ب13 طلق ناري. كان نقولا الضحية الرابعة لعمليات العنف العنصرية التي شهدتها فلوريدا، وأحد 10 الذين تم قتلهم من دون محاكمة من قبل العصابات العنصرية البيضاء في الولايات المتحدة عام 1929. في ليلة واحدة تم قتل مواطنين أمريكيين مهاجرين وتيتم 4 أطفال لأنهم لم يقبلوا الإهانة واعتبارهم مواطنين من الدرجة الثانية في أمريكا.
A lot of times when I talk about this story to different people, the question many of them have asked at the very end is, well, then what happened? Wasn't anybody charged? What happened to the kids? And so other people too felt that they wanted the story to have a proper ending, and it just didn't. So little by little, I got more and more documents, and pretty soon I had a dining room table full of papers and notes and stickies and Post-its, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then a rather darker side of the story emerged. There would be letter after letter in the lynching file that would say, you need to send a detective, send a plainclothesman, send somebody who can investigate this, because what you have now is the people involved in the murders are the people you're having investigate. It seems you are asking the guilty parties to investigate this matter. This is not the only dirty act that have been going on. The sheriff is reputed to be partner with another county officer in the ownership of what is known as Baker's Station. That is as wide open as any saloon, with a rooming house as low down as they make them. The sheriff's force also dole out confiscated liquor for gifts, and it is generally discussed by the public, but people are afraid to take any steps because it is as much as their lives are worth. With much regret that I can't afford to sign this matter, I will close. These people were afraid.
One of the near constant themes throughout the history of lynching is the involvement of law enforcement. You could not be elected sheriff in the South if you did not have a reputation for at least being willing to be brutal towards African Americans. That was your job.
أدت الاحتجاجات اللبنانية على إثر مقتل نقولا وحسنة إلى تنظيم تحقيق مستقل قامت به صحيفة الهدى اللبنانية الواقعة في مدينة نيويورك. ولكن بعد وقت قصير وبمشورة من المحامين اللبنانيين تم إسقاط القضية. وقد أثار مقتل عائلة رومي الجدل حول مدى اعتبار المهاجر اللبناني مواطنا أمريكيا أبيضا، واعتقدوا أن الاستمرار في التحقيق قد يؤدي إلى زعزعة موقف الجالية اللبنانية في المجتمع الأمريكي.
If you pursue an investigation to its end, more than likely you're going to end up finding names that have helped to shape that community, that have helped make policy and that maybe even are the law enforcement officials themselves.
If you invite animosity by drawing attention to yourself through protest, through something like a lawsuit or a legal case, you're not going to make a lot of friends. If the goal is ultimately to assimilate, to be able to claim whiteness, then organizing yourself in this way can be counterproductive. So I think that there's a bit of calculus that's taking place there, and the decision that's being made is that it's better to be quiet, to treat this as an anomaly, not to raise the ire, not to draw attention to ourselves, and just continue on this quiet path towards integration, assimilation, and enjoying the benefits of whiteness.
Nobody's bringing the lynch victim back, but the rest of us still have to live in a community that is dominated by white supremacy.
My grandparents were murdered by the KKK. It made me angry that, that justice wasn't even a part of this equation. It's like everybody washed their hands of it. I know that my Aunt Deanie, probably was more impacted than any of them. She lived 68 years. And from the time in her early teens, she's had that hole in her heart.
She lost everybody. And I think she continued to feel that loss till the end of her life. And she pretty much died alone. I was there the day before she died in the hospital.
She kind of like, just promised me you'll get this story told.
There are some family members who don't know the story, and then there are some family members who would rather the story not be discussed again. It's just too painful, too long ago. It is said that about 4 o'clock Friday morning, some parties took Romy from the jail, carried him about 2 miles on the Columbia Road, threw him into a ditch, and shot him to death, 13 bullets going into his body.
Oh my God.
That's quite an article. The part of the story that I want also to remain is the heartfelt story of 4 children losing their parents. It's not a modeling story. It's a story that just needs to be recounted as a child would have seen it that night. I beg to God to please let me see my mama's beautiful face without all the blood gushing out of her body. Mama, Mama, I screamed. Talk to me, Mama. Please don't leave me, Mama. I will be a good girl, Mama. I love you so much, Mama. I put my hands over her left breast to try and stop the blood from coming out of her body. Please, God, make it stop. Please let our Mama live. Please, God, don't take our Mama from us. Help her, God. Please let her live. We need her, Mama. I kiss her beautiful face. That's hard. If I could talk to her today, I would say, I hope we've told it right. And I hope we've told it honestly and with dignity. And I hope it would help you and your siblings remember your parents in a good way and not just their deaths. I would love to be able to tell her that.
Knowing your history doesn't mean celebrating your history. It means knowing it so that you can have the proper understanding of where everybody else is coming from. The reality is, immigrants who come here are Southerners, and we can never understand what the South truly is unless we understand those stories and broaden our picture of the South to include all of the people who get left out of those stories when people just like to wave a Confederate flag. If we don't know our true history, then we're not really Southerners. And all those people who claim that they are living that lost cause. And killing that is probably the most important thing historians can do.